Hello guys, what's up? Welcome to the new tutorial from the SketchUpArchStudio. My name is Surush and today we have some new attractive tutorial about the rendering. This time I want to talk about exterior rendering in the daylight and how you can create realistic renders. So please like and subscribe our YouTube channel and let's get to work. I have some picture in here, I think in this place. And this is one of the favorite renders I took with the Enscape 3.5 in the SketchUp 3D environment. So I think it can be really easy for you guys. So listen carefully and finish this job with the Enscape rendering engine forever. So this tutorial can be really useful. Let's get to work. I'm going to click on the SketchUp environment that I have in here. A modern house in this place, a little yard, and my favorite car, Dodge Charger 9070. So, as you can see, we have these details in here, and I want to talk about how you can create this type of renders in Enscape. This is the Enscape environment that we have in this place. This is the sun and other type of things. The clock is about 7:30, and it depends on you how you want to change your daytime. I prefer to use some daytime near to the morning, so I create my camera shot at the previous ways. So I'm gonna press F on my keyboard and I'm gonna click on the Super X Shot Sony lens. This is my name of the camera. So as you can see, I'm gonna turn on the safe frame in here, but the point is that, and you must check the materials before you start rendering. So first of all, I'm going to convert my perspective to the 2-point perspective. As you can see, it helps you to create some realistic 3D images and 3D detail models in your renders because it helps you to create some clean shots with the perspective. After that, I'm going to click on the visual setting in here and I'm going to use image bar for the first. First of all, I'm going to use auto contrast. It helps me to control the brightness, shadows, and highlights in my environment. Second, I'm going to text my color temperature, for example, warm colors or cold colors. I prefer to use some number about 8000 Kelvin in here. And I don't need any type of motion blur, so I want to convert it to the 0 and lens flare. I want to talk about lens flare and bloom at the end of the scene, so let's get to the atmosphere. Look at these street light shadow on the facet. As you can see, it's a little bit so sharp, so I need some soft shadow. I can reduce the shadow sharpness. As you can see, it will convert to some type of faded shadow. And if I increase it, I will have some sharp shadow on my facade. But I prefer to use some number about 36%. Artificial light brightness is not useful because I only render my job with sunlight, so don't touch it. Ambient brightness is about interior lighting and interior rendering. I'm going to convert it to the 36 because I don't want to see the interior too much. The wind is not important, but you can add some number about 16%. And all other things done for me. If you want to reduce the tonnage of the sunlight, you can reduce it a little bit, some number about 74%. Now I'm going to start my job with the skybox in here. I'm going to use the white ground, or I can use white cubes. It depends on you. Don't have any type of special changes in these two options. And one of the tips about the realistic rendering in the daylight is about the sky. Most of the noob guys in their rendering use the cirrus amount with the full parameter and make the sky full of clouds, but it's wrong. If you want some realistic render, you must create some clear sky. And how? You only need to convert all of these three items to the 0. Count rail, cirrus amount, and variety. Density is not important. You can increase it or you can decrease it. It depends on you. I prefer to use 0 for this number again. And now we have some clear sky in our environment. I'm going to click on the output I'm going to convert my resolution to the custom, and now I have my favorite aspect ratio, as you can see in this picture in here. It's the Quad HD quality for the pictures, and it's the portrait, so it helps you to create some much realistic renders in your 3D rendering software. So I use the custom resolution and I add 9020 to 2560, and it's one of the best resolutions you can use for your 3D renders. So I'm going to come back to the image bar in here. I'm going to click on the lens flare and I want to increase it a little bit with some number about, for example, 66%. How we can feel the changes with the lens flare? You only need some metal material in your environment. So I'm gonna get closer to this bumper of the favorite car in here. As you can see, when I increase the lens flare, I will have some shiny edges in this place. And when I decrease it, it will decrease too. But you can't feel it because it's a little bit sensitive parameter. But I prefer to use some number about 66%, and vignette is about 20. Chromatic abbreviation is not important, so I'm going to convert it to the 0, and bloom option with some number about 6%. If I increase the bloom option, look at this place in here. If I increase it, you can see the changes in here. So bloom and lens flare have some special relationship with each other. You must control both of them if you want to create some artistic renders. So I'm going to add lens flare and bloom with some number about 10%, and the main bar is about exposure. So I'm going to press F on my keyboard. I'm going to turn back to my camera shot in here. I'm going to use field of view with some number about 50 degree. Turn on the depth of field and change the focal point of my camera lens on my facade. As you can see, we have some shiny line in our rendering environment. For example, if I want to focus on the Dodge Charger lights, I must hold my camera focal point in here. And if I want to focus on the facade, I must hold it in here. So some number about, I think, some number maybe 30.50 meter can really useful for us. So if I increase the depth of field, you can see the changes and we have some blur environment in here. But I don't suggest to use it much more higher than 20% because it's completely exit your renders from the reality. Use some number about 8%. It's really soft, it's really normal, and it always helps you to create some artistic renders. Now I'm going to increase the exposure. Exposure is about 56 is good, and I want to convert my rendering quality to the ultra. Alright, now as you can see, we create this render very simple and easy. I think under than 10 minutes. So now I'm going to minimize my screen in here, come back to the SketchUp environment, and I have some work with this fascinating car, and I'm going to click on the Enscape material editor. I'm going to click on the paint bucket, and I want to detect my body of the car in the Enscape material editor, but I don't know which one related to this object. So I'm going to use the sample paint in here, double click, and click on my favorite color. As you can see, the body color detected for me, and it's some color about dim gray. If I convert it to the white, look at this render in this place. I'm going to focus on my car in here. If I change the color of the car, for example, to the red, as you can see, it will convert to the red. So you understand how to find and detect your materials in the Enscape material editor by using sample paint in SketchUp. So, for example, you want some white color. Oh, I forget it. Comment your opinion about your favorite color in the vehicles. For example, which type of color you want for your color and car. So, it's about the white. I want to convert it to the teal, for example. or other type of colors you want, but I prefer to use dim gray for it. Alright, so we learn how to change the car's material. And now I want to convert it to the full metal. Roughness is about 31% and Metallica is about 100. Always remember that for the cars, vehicles, and all of the metal things in the SketchUp, you must use 100% Metallica in Enscape. So if I decrease the roughness, look at the body of the car in here. When I decrease it, I have more reflections on it. So you can manage it by your own self. I prefer to use 31% because it's the best number for the colors body. I'm gonna close the Enscape material editor. I will come back to the Enscape environment in here, click on my favorite shot in this place, and I think everything is done right now for me. If you want to add some other things like the objects, you only need to click the asset library, and it takes a little bit time. Sometimes it provides internet. I don't know why it's not working right now. Sometimes it don't work. It doesn't matter. All of the things in our scene is completely good, and now time for the rendering. I'm gonna hold Shift and F11, and I'm gonna use the desktop and save my job. It takes a little bit time, and you will have see some type of realistic super render with the SketchUp and Enscape. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thanks for your watching. Thanks a lot. And I only have some one request in you. Please subscribe our YouTube channel if you like this video. Thanks for your watching and goodbye.